void and every empty space is filled up. They are not just filled up, they are filled up gradually for the purpose of stability. It is important we establish that those empty void, those empty spaces will not just be filled automatically. They are filled intentionally, gradually for the purpose of God's stability. So that it doesn't appear as if somebody has made progress in numbers, age-wise, but there seems to be so many deficits, which has been the case with many youths these days. You find them physically towering very high, looking very masculine, well-built, but by the time you come close and you look at the inner content that is supposed to determine the wholeness of that person, you find that so much is lacking. Now, in our days, there is a trend of what they call the beard gang. I have discovered that one of the many reasons for the beard gang is to get respect. It's so that somebody looks at you that you are a bit mature. No, your maturity is not by the beard. And you don't get respect, you earn respect. Are you getting it? So it is important you understand what it means to be whole. I just hope everybody is listening to me. I hope you are not toiling and playing with your phone so that you don't waste your time. Are you getting it? I will not pick on anybody, but I just want to sound this out. So that you don't look like somebody who came here to waste away. Huh? You came here to achieve something. Please. Now, what it means for the holistic development of the youth is that as a youth, you are like a traveler on transit. When we got to Addis Ababa in Ethiopia, we had a 4-hour stopover, which metamorphosed into 6 hours. The reason is simply because we lost the first flight that was to fly direct, Atlas Jet from Rome that came to take us. We were supposed to fly to Rome from Rome. We had visa issues, not given on time. So we had a delay and the company will not keep their jet waiting for you. Every day they spend, they're losing millions. So we had to improvise with Ethiopian Airlines, and that means that we can't fly direct. Now when we flew to Addis Ababa, the logistics for connecting to Israel, which is still a business of Ethiopian Airlines, has to be subject to their own convenience. They have had passengers on board from various nations, so we were going to deal with any vacant flight. Not because there is any vacant flight on ground. So we are going to do so, and before you know, additional time was added. While we were there, we saw people from different parts of the world. And as you are seeing them, you are seeing different character, different behavior, certain things that are, strange to you, for them it's normal. Are you getting it? Like calling somebody who is much elderly by their first name was okay for them. Are you getting it? Somebody of 18 calls a man of 70 by the first name, Bill, how are you, Bill? If you try that in Africa, ancestors will slap you. The reason is simply because we are people of culture. Are you getting it? With all our advancement and civilization, we are people of culture, and by that culture, we have discipline instilled in us. Are you getting it? Now, it is important we know that while we were waiting for that flight, when the flight finally came, it was time for us to begin to check into the flight, and then the Ethiopian security at the airport, because you are Nigerian and because of the name Nigeria, they have to subject some of us to some horrible treatment by searching your luggage, randomly. And I was one of those. They searched their luggage randomly. I was the first person, in fact. And the way the guy was searching my bag, I had to follow him everywhere. They said, "What is it?" I said, "Go ahead." I said, "Go ahead, my friend." He said, "Can you allow me to do my job?" I said, "I'm not stopping you, but go ahead. You are black, I'm black. You are capable of evil, I'm capable of evil. So let's do it." And everything. He turned my back inside out. And when he was done, he said, "Okay, go that way." I said, "No, arrange it back the way you met it." I stood there. I said, "Arrange it." I said, "Begin to fix it. I'm watching you do it." And then he was wondering. He looked to see whether there was a title attached. And I said, you are going to fix it. I said, "Is this how you people behave in Ethiopia?" When he heard the word, "Is this how you behave in Ethiopia?" He was calm. I said, "That's not where this one is. Keep this one here." He folded and did everything. When the moment he was done with me, he told everybody to do. By the time we're returning, he saw me, say, "Welcome, how was your flight?" I dropped my bag, said, "No, you go. I didn't want the trouble." Now, I passed a message across without being arrogant, without being insulting, without being, are you getting it? Now, this is a function of my own development. So you owe your development to yourself. The Nigerian government that you well know will not help you develop. I hope you know that. Your parents will help you to a reasonable extent. They give birth to you, they love you. They want you to be better than they are. So they will send you to school as much as you are willing to learn and at the speed you can learn. But again, it will get to a point where they can also get tired if you are not bringing back the right results. And then as you go on, studying, mixing with friends, you are going to be developed by those friends. This is why home training is very key. The home training is like the foundation laid. If you don't have a proper foundation, it means everybody is going to make your life a dumping ground. Every friend you connect will add something to your life or subtract something. And at the end of the day, you become a victim of the society, which many people have become. When you meet people who are abusers of drugs, pornography, so many other things, it's not because they wanted to. Nobody, the most vilest among them, didn't want it. But they had a problem of decision making. They had no willpower to resist certain things. For some people, they felt that was the path to go. But in the long run, they'll discover that they are becoming a liability to themselves. I don't know if you have seen somebody who have suffered stroke before. Has anybody seen somebody who suffered? She's down with stroke, they are battling stroke. And then one of the things we notice from the result is what they call emotional liability. And that is as a result of the effect of the stroke on some part of the brain. And then you discover that the human system is like the vehicle you drive. The moment a fuse is caught, if the fuse to control horn is caught, your horn will not function. If the fuse that controls the projector, the injector for fueling is caught, there will be no supply. So while you try to turn on the ignition, it's not coming on. It will give you the sound, but gradually the battery is running down. Now what happens in that emotional ability? There are some impulsive response that the person can control. Maybe laughter, like a mad person. The person just keep laughing at interval. And you think, are they okay? They are not okay. They can be crying at intervals. When you least expect, what is annoying you, they can't tell you. That is the emotion. They call it emotional liability because you have to manage it. Look for it. And this is where I want us to look at critically. That most times when we talk about what we call the IQ and we talk about the AQ, right? I mean, we talk about the SQ. The IQ is what? Intelligent. We talk about the SQ what? The social. We talk about the EQ, emotional. That's emotional intelligence. There is an aspect we don't talk about, but we practice it every day in Nigeria. That is what I call the AQ, the adversity quotient. You are memorizing it to yourself. See, pain is in power, so every Nigerian adversity, ability to take in pain and still advance, ability to take in pain and smile even in the pain. You know, I discovered something about Nigeria. Our musicians are gifted people. Fela of blessed memory sang long ago a song ahead of time. That time Fela was singing, suffering and smiling. He was talking about. No. Are you getting it? Rat race. No, not Raskimono. Victor Eshet, Mandatus. He sang about rat race. Majel Fashek sang about, I can't remember all now, but all of them had a song for this time that is making meaning now. And then the youngest of them, now Idris Abdul Karim, Nigeria Jaga Jaga. This is the real Jaga Jaga. And I am glad he has done a reload. He has done a remix. So what we are saying is, if you are not developed holistically, there will be a problem. Now look at why it is important. As young men, many years ago, we were toddlers. As young girls, many years ago, we were toddlers playing. I saw one of my little girls one day in Lagos. I went to Lagos for a program and she's a big girl. If I was a wedding, I was a guest speaker. And while she was coming in with where she worked and the money she made, you need to see the level of people who were welcoming her. You know, and somebody whispered to me, is that Joy? I said, Joy, now she has not changed. She may be big, but the face is still that small girl. He said, if you call her small girl, she'll be angry. I said, watch and see what I will do to her. And God so kind to her. When she was coming to greet me, she already knew what I would do. She said, I beg, she know what I would do. And she came and held me. I said, it's okay, go and sit down, we'll talk in it. The reason is simply because as a youth, you are on transit. You are making progress. The way you look when you are coming out of your home this morning, the mirror, the next 10 years, you need extra more money to look that way. She's smiling. The reason is simply because if you don't have that money, it will break. The aging may be too pronounced, but that's not what I'm here to talk about. Physically, we have evolved, we've developed. Puberty has expressed itself, but something is still lacking. And what is that thing? Character. Character. I discovered that when we talk about education, education is not about the body. What actually goes to school is the mind. Hello? Is what? The mind. When you go to school, when you go to study, when you have education, the impact is supposed to be where? On your mind. It is the overall effect of that education on your mind that affects the generality of your life. Because the mind is the brain box of the human being. In the mind, you talk about 5 major compartments. The human is body, soul, and spirit. But the soul alone takes about 5 compartments. We talk about the intellect. We talk about the memory. We talk about the emotion. Are you getting it? We talk about the will. And we talk about the imagination. We talk about the will and we talk about your ability to operate your smartphone is because of the knowledge of the phone you have. Are you getting it? When you bought your phone probably came with a lesser gig RAM. But because of the kind of person you are and the things you do, you may get a bigger memory card. What are you trying to do? You are trying to do what? Boost the memory. What is the function of a memory card? To retain memory. So what you know is what is retained in the memory. Are you getting it? What you know is what is what? Retained in the memory. What you imagine. Imaginations are product of your pictures. While I'm standing here, I have a picture of how I want. Time for me to act. My will is what? Activated. My will is what? Activated. My will is... Are you getting it? It's what you have decided to do. The enemy has no reason to... Can you sit straight? Can you sit well? The enemy has no reason to succeed over your life, to do certain things that are despicable if it does not break your will. Yes. So many good boys, so many good girls, they became bad the moment their will to stay with the good was broken. So what we're saying is, while as young boys we are developing, my first son is 15 this year. So me now, because of the way he's growing, my wife has always loved to have tall children. So if he's talking, I say, stay there, talk, I'm hearing you. You can measure it with your mother, not with me. And then, most times when he finishes talking with the mother will try to imitate him. He's growing, he's no longer the little boy. He's growing. And then their mother was complaining last week, the way you people eat in this house, I say, allow them. As they grow, their food intake increases. Because the activity does what? Increases. But it is one thing to grow physically. And then when you don't grow in this other area, emotion, intelligence, memory, will, it is going to bring about a very bad old age. Today, you go around and you find old people doing some menial jobs. And most times, what comes to your mind if you are a good person is that you feel for them. Is it true? Yeah. Is that true? You ask yourself, why is this person doing this kind of thing? I was going to Kevin for a program one day and I stopped at NNPC Nyanya to buy fuel. It was during fuel scarcity. So we are tipping the guy to sell beyond the normal 5,000. If you want to buy more than 5, you give him some money to sell for you. There was an elderly man by my side, over 70. He had 2 25 liters gallon. These people sell black market. So he kept the gallon. The guy kicked the gallon away. And I called him and said, come. I said, how old are you? The guy said, I'm waiting how I'm in. I said, no, how old are you? Fairness, how old? They say he's 24. I said, look at this man, you are kicking his gallon away. You think this is what he wants to do in his life? Is he not going to give you some money when you assist him? Help him, please. He said, that means I have to sell for him before you. I said, no, don't worry, sell for him. And they finished selling for him. Now, after selling for him, how will he move it out of the filling station? And I opened my door and said, put it inside. All those I was doing is because I felt for him. At his age, he should be retired. 70. I'm just calculating. If it's up to 70, at that time, he should do what? He should retire. Not retire from life. At that time, he should come into rest. All the things he has put in place in the course of developing as a youth should be speaking by them, not to carry. So I helped him move the thing out, and he wanted to lead. I said, don't do it, stand up, stand up. And I moved my car. Throughout that day, the picture of that man filled my heart. Are you getting it? So I'm going to stop here because of time. Let me take your questions and whatever, and then we'll level up. As a